Motown hits a high note, why Detroit's bankruptcy is attracting investors. In today's cover story, will competition in the discount airline industry give a lift to ticket sales? Plus, the ultimate people mover. Tesla CEO is out with a plan that will whisk you around the nation. And a low-cost vacation could be right around the corner. First Business starts now.
You're watching First Business. Financial news, analysis, and today's investment ideas.
Good morning, everybody. It's Tuesday, August 13th. I'm Angela Miles. And today's first look, trending now in the market, tech stocks. News out of Apple and BlackBerry motivated buyers, making the Nasdaq the only major index to end the session in the green yesterday. Gold up $23, oil by 18 cents. It could turn into a not so yummy day for Yum Brand stock. The company that owns KFC continues to see a decline of sales in China due to a chicken scare allegedly caused by suppliers breaking rules. And the latest data shows American workers are now up to 10 days of vacation from 8 back in 1993, but they are also getting less paid sick time. Lincoln Ellis of Strategic Financial Group joins us this morning. Good morning, Lincoln.
Good morning.
The Nasdaq notched higher yesterday. Will there be follow through today, or will it be a sell-off?
Well, it looks like, of the three major markets, it's the most perky as we've gone through the August doldrums. Technology is still a very growth-oriented part of this market, and investors are looking for that growth portion of the market at this stage of the game. So that market itself finds a bid. You
see reasons for that to rally. What about gold? There's been a rally in that market as well.
Breaking out of a trading range that it's been in really for the last 6 months. Pushing all kinds of gold and commodity-related instruments down, in particular the GDX, the gold miners, now breaking above 1,300 for the first time in some while, dragging a lot of those long-suppressed parts of the market back up with it.
It's an options expiration week, and yet I'm sensing a lot of traders are on vacation this week.
Not just a lot of traders here in Chicago, but in New York. And as you know, most of Europe has been on vacation for the last 8 or 9 days. So it makes for a very interesting options expiration, somewhat higher levels of volatility, lowered levels of liquidity. So you could be pushing around 1685 on the S&P. You could be trading over 1700 on the S&P. Or really, if you got carried away, you could go to 1725 on the upside.
So a good market for traders, but perhaps not so much for investors looking to go long here. What do you think, Lincoln?
Well, I think we're probably at the top range of valuations. This morning we're going to get some retail sales numbers. Later on in the week we'll get some CPI and PPI numbers. Those numbers in itself will give another read on the health of the consumer and its ability to digest the uptick in interest rates, which is inevitably with us after September.
Lincoln, thanks for starting off our show today. Thank you.
You bet.
Apple is sending out a save the date message to the market. On September 10th, the company is expected to unveil its latest generation of smartphones. Rumors are already swirling, from iPhone colors to a fingerprint scanner that unlocks the device. Ina Fried, senior editor at All Things D, tells us that a fingerprint scanner seems like a logical step, given Apple's purchase of Authentech, which specializes in small embedded finger scanning capabilities. However, it's unclear whether Apple will reveal other innovations.
The real question is, does Apple have a whole new category of devices? And there's been a lot of speculation that they might be interested in doing a television or a smartwatch, but we've seen no indication that those things are super close to fruition. So those might be things to look for next year versus later this year.
Apple shares bounced on the news, closing at $467. It also helped lift the Nasdaq.
Shares of BlackBerry also brought a boost to the tech sector. The stock bounced above $10 in trading Monday on where the struggling smartphone maker is considering its options.
The market right now is pricing in maybe the stock goes to 11.5, 1170. If anything, I would be looking to the downside, maybe even buying some cheap puts. I saw a couple analysts came out yesterday that said $8 target. I think it probably hits down in that $9 range.
During the last 5 years, BlackBerry shares have fallen almost 90%. In hopes of improving the situation, the company has formed a special committee that will consider the sale of the company or a joint venture to accelerate the deployment of the BlackBerry 10. The phone was supposed to be a hot seller but did not catch on as much as anticipated. Smartphone research firm IDC claims BlackBerry has less than 3% of global market share.
Dole Food is going private in a deal valued above $1 billion. CEO David Murdoch is buying his remaining shares of the produce company for $13.50 a share. It's a sweeter offer than the $12 he proposed in June. The news juiced the stock 5% higher. The deal still needs shareholder and regulatory approval, but is expected to close by the fourth quarter.
The Campbell Soup Company is in talks to sell off some of its European brands. The proposed sale includes soups and other products sold under a variety of names in Belgium, Finland, France, Germany, and Sweden. It's the latest in a number of changes to the company since it hired a new president 2 years ago. Campbell recently bought juice company Bolthouse Farms and baby food maker Plum Organics.
In our cover story, air travelers seeking ultra-low-cost airfares may soon have another option. The private equity firm behind Spirit Airlines' recent success is in negotiations to buy Frontier Airlines. The same people who invested in Spirit Airlines in 2006 and convinced management to drop fare prices but charge numerous ancillary fees, the Phoenix-based private equity firm Indigo Partners is about to buy Frontier Airlines. And expectations are that Frontier will get a dose of the same Spirit.
I think it'd be fine if there was another low-cost airline here. I definitely used Ryanair a lot when I was in Europe studying abroad. And I mean, once in a while they get you with fees and that kind of thing, but overall it's just nice to have the option.
Spirit is riding high these days. It just reported a second quarter profit margin of 8.5%, more than twice that of its competitors. Its stock has nearly tripled since going public 2 years ago, and analysts attribute the success to 76-year-old William Franke, who co-founded Indigo Partners.
Bill Franke is an experienced airline operator, and he is something of a turnaround artist, having started America West, having participated in the repositioning of Spirit, gives him credibility, I think, with both investors and with employees.
The business model is not for business travelers. Instead, the target is students and middle-income leisure travelers willing to forego comfort and convenience for price. That's if you can avoid the add-ons.
We fly Southwest all the time, and we used Spirit because the fare was less. In the long run, it cost us more.
But for passengers concerned about airline consolidation, U.S. Airways and American, Continental and United, analysts say an ultra-low-cost carrier based in Denver might be good for business after all.
Well, this is a big story. I mean, you look at Frontier, they've been hobbling along. They haven't been able to expand much. You take a different business model, like the model used at Spirit, with ultra discounting, no frills, ancillary fees for everything. And you could see how Frontier could reshape discount travel in the West.
And it could happen fast. The deal could be wrapped up by next month.
Downtown Detroit is booming in the face of bankruptcy. The Motor City's urban area is on an upswing as demand for office space is picking up. Developers are flocking to office rentals that are estimated to be 7 to 25% less than renting space in the suburbs.
It's still malleable. It's still developing and, determining what it's going to be at the end of the day. And with that, folks feel that they can come in and actually be part of Detroit's revitalization and redevelopment.
That was Dave Blaskowitz with the Downtown Detroit Partnership. He tells us the area has a 99% occupancy rate right now. He adds that momentum has created 12,000 jobs in the past 18 months.
The U.S. Commodities Futures Trading Commission is stepping up its probe into price fixing of metals. The agency is asking one metals firm to hand over all of its correspondence with the London Metal Exchange since 2010. Companies that use metal in products such as Coca-Cola have complained of limited output from factories, which drives up prices. The probe is also looking into who's responsible for inventory. Lately, the metals industry has seen control shift from warehouse providers to big banks such as J.P. Morgan Chase & Company.
In a check on crops around the world this morning, concerns are growing. A scorching heat wave is shrinking the production of rice in China. In France, sunny weather is expected to increase champagne production by 56%. Harvest time, though, is still a couple of months away. Back in the U.S., corn farmers are likely to churn out a bumper crop. The U.S. Ag Department reports despite the wet, cold spring, a record 13.8 billion bushels of corn will be harvested.
Guests staying near Disney are on an unwanted sinkhole adventure. Residents of Summer Bay Condo Resort in Claremont, Florida were forced to escape their homes after a sinkhole cut the property in two. 20 guests were at the property. No one was injured, but some lost all of their belongings. Engineers are still determining the cause and extent of the damage.
The power of the pen is proving profitable. Topping the list is E.L. James, the author of the wildly popular Shades of Grey trilogy, earned 95 million Shades of Green. A movie is expected next August. Best-selling novelist James Patterson lands at number 2 with $91 million. And rounding out the top 3, Suzanne Collins, the woman behind The Hunger Games, with $55 million.
Apparently, there's an upturn in money in changing diapers. Babysitters are now making $12 an hour on average, and according to the Boston Globe, those wages are rising at a rate 9 times faster than inflation. Babysitting wages now top those of fast food workers, healthcare aides, and retail sales clerks.
On the economic calendar for today, retail sales tops the list, along with export and import prices for July and business inventories. On the earnings calendar, it's SeaWorld and Tree.com. Still to come, Fast Track. Tesla CEO's plan to zip you across the nation in 45 minutes. Plus, there's a price break at the gas pump, but will it last? And if Facebook executives are selling their shares of the company, should you? First Business continues after this.
Tesla's CEO is hyping up his wild ride. Elon Musk is rolling out his plan for a high-speed transit system dubbed Hyperloop. It's a tube that whisks passengers from LA to San Francisco in 35 minutes. A one-way ticket would cost $20. Musk says he doesn't plan to develop the system himself because he's already booked up working on SpaceX and Tesla cars. However, instead, he hopes his initial research will get the wheels turning, so to speak.
As summer slips away, so are prices at the gas pump. AAA reports a gallon of unleaded gasoline tumbled 7 cents during the past week. Phil Flynn, a Fox Business News contributor and oil trader with Price Futures Group, is with us this morning. Good morning, Phil.
Good morning. It's about time.
It is about time. What's driving down prices?
You know, a couple of things. You know, all of that refinery maintenance we were talking about all summer about expanding refining capacity. Well, the U.S. has the most refining capacity they probably have had in over 30 years. That means that we're producing gasoline at a record pace, and we have a glut of gasoline, so that's driving down prices. Now, I know there's some people in some parts of the country saying, hey, our gas prices aren't coming down because of regional issues, but in the big picture, nationwide, they are starting to come down, and hopefully this is a sign they're going to come down for years to come.
But what about crude? Crude has been climbing. There's a lot of growth happening in China, apparently, that's driving crude higher. What do you think about that?
You know, I think at the end of the day, the crude oil is probably overvalued even with the growth from China. I think we've got a lot of buildup in the price of WTI.
Are those speculators?
Yeah, well, no, I think it's what's overpriced right now when you look at crude oil is the value of the dollar, quantitative easing, what the Fed does to the price of oil. And when they talk about tapering those prices, I think will start to come back. Look at how much oil moved. If you look at the biggest moves in oil, it hasn't been predicated by OPEC or speculators. It's by either the Federal Reserve or the Bank of England or the European Central Bank.
But
those are the ones that really move oil.
I smell speculation here.
Well, do you? Well, there's always a speculator, but for every speculator, for every buyer, there is a seller on the other side. So that kind of evens it off when it comes to speculator. But, you know, when you look at what really drives the market, does anybody think that oil would be above $100 a barrel without the Federal Reserve and QE and negative interest rates? I couldn't find one person that would think that.
What's going on with demand?
I think demand in the U.S. is falling over the big picture, but in the emerging markets like China, it's starting to go up, but not at a big pace. But big picture, the United States has hit peak demand. Our demand is going to start going down year after year, and our production is going to go up year after year. I think we're going to be a major oil exporter to the emerging markets. And here in the U.S., we're going to become a lot more efficient. We're going to drive a lot more natural gas vehicles and electric vehicles in the future. And those old gas guzzlers that we used to drive are going to be a thing of the past.
That was a good promo for Tesla. Thanks for coming on the show today. Thank you for your thoughts. Always a pleasure. Fun.
Good to be here.
Coming up, now that it costs you less to fill up your gas tank, oh, the places you can go. How to snag a late summer deal on a vacation home is right around the corner. Also, why more job hunters hoping to break into the travel industry are hearing you're hired. We'll be right back. A vacation website that offers homes and condos for rent is becoming a go-to place for travelers. John Gray, Vice President of HomeAway, is Skyping with us this morning. Hello. What are prices looking like as we get closer to Labor Day?
So as you come up to holidays, you sometimes find some great last-minute deals. And on our site, which is homeaway.com, you can filter by special offers. And currently, we offer over 500 of those on the site. So you can get some great last-minute deals coming into the Labor Day holiday.
What are popular destinations?
So some of the popular destinations for the end of summer are the Hamptons, Cape Cod, Ocean City, Maryland, Southern Florida, Bethany Beach, Delaware, and the Bay Area in San Francisco.
Are you changing the way people vacation?
I think so. We offer some really unique values for groups and families. If you're traveling with a group or family and you're staying in a group of hotel rooms, you're used to things like having to go out and eat at every meal. Our site helps people not have to do that by having things like kitchens, things like private swimming pools where groups can hang out together. Also common areas. So once children go to bed, you have a place where you can all be together.
Analysts say the stock could jump 25% higher in the next year. What would be some of the catalysts at your company that could help propel the stock?
Well, one of the things that is huge in our space is awareness. People are starting to understand that this is a great travel option, and people who own second homes are starting to realize that families want to come vacation in private homes and in condos. So as awareness ramps, our industry certainly becomes more mainstream.
What about some of your pricing? You're doing tiered pricing.
So yes, first of all, our site is free to use for travelers who are looking for a vacation home. You're just paying an owner directly. You do not pay to use the site. Owners who are looking to rent out their vacation home pay us a fee to list their property with us for the year. And that is something that, as you mentioned, is tiered. Those prices start at $349 and range up to $999 for an annual subscription.
Well, much success to you. That's John Gray, Vice President of HomeAway. Thank you.
Thanks, Angie.
Hiring in the travel and tourism sector is making a comeback. The LA Times reports that the industry has recovered 92% of the positions lost during the recession. Economists argue, however, most of the jobs are part-time or minimum wage, such as waiters earning a median salary of $22,000 a year. However, the Travel Association defends the hiring surge, saying that it's helping the middle class, and the association cites the hiring of salespeople, travel agents, and hotel managers, who it says earn between $27,000 and $80,000 per year.
Thank you, Chuck. Just ahead, is the stock market headed for new lows after hitting all-time highs? And why are Facebook executives selling their shares of the social media company? Chart Talk is next. Matt Shapiro, president of MWS Capital, is standing by for a Chart Talk with us this morning. Good morning, Matt.
Morning, Angie.
Let's start with Facebook. COO Sheryl Sandberg is selling her shares. She sold $91 million worth of Facebook shares. Should average investors do the same?
I could totally understand where she's coming from. I mean, we're not average investors with $90 million of Facebook. But, she suffered through, really, the botched IPO. The stock went down to 17. And, she's been rewarded for her management. They've had some good earnings. So the stock's back up to 40. Obviously, a good time for someone like her to sell. I can definitely understand. But it does point to a broader question of strategy towards the end of the year, looking at all these stocks, such as Facebook, Google, Amazon, that are hitting all-time highs, and where's the best place to put your money?
Where is the best place?
The Russell 2000 is up 30% over the last 12 months. And, there are market prognosticators that look at these exceptional short-term rates of return, massive numbers of new highs, and, put out a little sense of caution. And, investing every day like we all do, I do see stocks that are very extended, some of them. So I think you prune a little bit here and there, get rid of that stock, you've been looking to sell now that your portfolio is at an all-time high, and also take a look at some of the beaten down dividend and income and real estate sectors to position yourself maybe a little bit more conservatively to the end of the year.
Any specific names you have your eyes on, Matt?
Well, absolutely. I like the tobacco stocks. I like the utilities. And also, we talked about last week, those big European shares. But, I think the economy has really picked up. So we're going to have some good results over the next couple quarters towards the end of the year, but it's going to take more and more to impress investors now that stocks have run so much. So take a look at some of those opportunities in fixed income and bonds and some of the stocks that haven't participated as much in the rally.
Thank you, Matt.
You're welcome.
Coming up tomorrow on First Business, a punk rocker who shook up the scene in the 80s with Sid Vicious is on to a new role helping young people become entrepreneurs. It's going to be a fun one. Don't miss our show on Wednesday. Until next time, from all of us at First Business, have a great day.